Entrepreneurship is really you versus you. There's literally nothing stopping you from achieving anything you want in life except yourself. Once you realize that, you'll see that the whole world's for your taking. One of my lowest moments in my life probably when I was through the exit process.
This is what I suppose kind of blew you up.
Made over $30 million with it.
$30 million from a football.
Came on like the news, bro. Yeah. From there we sold out everything. Notification, sale, and just went crazy. This e-commerce business model actually works. So all the people who are talking online about this, they're not talking bullshit. That's all I needed to know. This model works. Like if you chase something, that means it's running away from you. Instead of chasing money, you have to attract it. I always wanted to become a millionaire when I was 18. Unfortunately, I didn't hit it. I became it when I was 19. I went from 10K a day to 15 to 20 to 30 to 40 to 50 every single day. And then I went to 300K.
Alex, your whole time doing entrepreneurship, you're 22 years old right now. What's the greatest lesson you've learned that you can teach to the people watching today?
Wow, we're really diving into it.
We're diving straight into it.
My biggest lesson, bro, I've learned so many. But if I have to name one of them, is that entrepreneurship is really you versus you. Okay? Like I have to remind myself every single day about this as well. Because I tend to forget about it. Okay? Like you look at your environment, you're on social media, you're scrolling on Twitter, you're looking at other people, and everyone convinces you online that someone is stopping you. Okay? Either their family is stopping them, the government is stopping them, their environment, their friends. But if I actually think about it, there's literally nothing stopping you from achieving anything you want in life except yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have to remind myself that it's you versus you. And once you realize that, you'll see that the whole world's for your taking.
That's it, man. That's it. And you've been absolutely smashing it. And if you have to get introduction to yourself, I mean, I wanted to bring the ball here with me because this is what I suppose kind of blew you up and how you made it. So before we come into your whole backstory, talk to me about this Brite ball and what it actually is.
So in your hand, we have a Brite soccer ball, or football we say in Europe, right?
Yeah, football, yeah.
Actually, that's where I also got a lot of controversy on TikTok as well, where I say soccer ball, football. But yeah, long story short, this is the brand which I started since I was 15.
In 15? Okay,
15 in 2020.
So you was like 7 years old? Or not 7 years old.
16, 7.
7 years ago.
I was 16. I was 16 when I started.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you hand you have a Brite ball, it's made me... I did very well with the ball. Okay, this is like one of the products, the main products we've been selling. Brite is the brand it's called.
Mm-hmm.
But I started with the football, and yeah, made over $30 million with it. And
$30 million from a football.
Yeah, just one ball.
That's crazy.
Like, also, we sold like American footballs, we sold basketballs, but I would say 90% come from this football.
And so this is a product you made. It's not like you drop shipped it from anywhere else. It's a product you made, basically.
It's actually funny because most people actually in e-com, they start out with like without any stock, right? They just see something on AliExpress and they just start selling it.
Yeah.
I actually did it the other way around. How I started with this product is literally I was scrolling on Instagram one day. I was already in e-com. We can talk a bit about it in a minute, but I was selling all kinds of COVID products, but nothing really worked out.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point I was just scrolling on Instagram and I saw this ad of WorldStar. Literally on the page WorldStar. I know WorldStar is not that popular anymore, but
yeah, back then.
Yeah, back then in 2020, like everywhere, like it's the hood fights, everyone's talking WorldStar. So I was just scrolling. I was in the mall, I remember, and I already realized that because before that I was selling on platforms like bol.com. That's like the Dutch Amazon, the Dutch version of Amazon. And in the Netherlands, like Amazon is not that big. So I realized I was selling on these platforms, but I realized that I don't really have any control over anything I'm doing because like some motherfucker could just wake up and just undercut me with $1 and I don't have any sales anymore.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah.
So I realized, you know what? I need my own website. I need my own brand. And that was always my dream. I knew if I have control over something, I can scale so much further. And there was also a cap towards how much I could earn on these platforms.
Yeah.
So I saw that on WorldStar. I saw like a guy in the US. It was called HoloGear or something. This big US brand, and they were just running an ad of a guy playing with a basketball. It was a glowing basketball, exact same as this one. I'm actually selling that version as well as a basketball. But I was like, I didn't even think of selling it. Like, I wanted to buy it myself. Literally, I was like, bro, this ball's crazy.
Yeah.
Because we were sometimes basketballing outside. I was said, bro, this could be so cool to bring to my friends, right, and impress them.
Yeah.
So I was looking at the website. And I was like, I came home, so I just saved it. I did nothing with it. After a couple of months, my frustrations grew. with the platform. So I was like, you know what? Let me find something which I can sell myself. Okay, I have in my own control. I have my own brand. So I went to my Instagram again, and I remembered, I have these glowing balls. So what I just did is I scrolled on. I went to Google. First thing I did, I searched like glowing football. I typed in some keywords, and I couldn't find anything except this US brand.
Mm-hmm.
But I was from the Netherlands. I'm from a very small town in the Netherlands, and I realized, okay, nobody is actually selling this in Europe, neither in the UK. Nobody was selling it there. It was just one guy in the US. But I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is cool. Like, I actually like this product. I love it. Like, I would want to buy it myself. Like, why is nobody selling this?
Yeah.
Obviously, there were some AliExpress sellers. There were some guys who were selling it on a low scale, but nobody was actually doing it as a real brand. So that's where I saw the gap and opportunity during COVID. Also, it was around May of 2020. This was so I already got some experience with selling COVID-related products on platforms, but I've never really started my own website. So first thing I did was literally I just went to YouTube. I didn't buy any course. I didn't do any coaching. First thing I did, went to YouTube. I typed in like Shopify tutorial. I got this one US guy, shout out to him, Dan Vess, I believe was his name. I don't think he's around anymore, but he had like a 3-hour course, which was completely for free, explaining everything from A to Z.
Like a full tutorial.
Yeah, full tutorial, how to buy your supply chain, like how to buy your products from Alibaba, start your Shopify store, run ads, everything. It was free. It was crazy. So I just watched that. I followed all the steps, and I made so many mistakes. Okay, to get back to your question, I actually started, like most people would actually be dropshipping it, right? I started with buying one sample from my supplier in China. I found it through Alibaba, and but there was, like right now you can see like a V10 or something of the ball. Like the V1 looks way different.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, like it got damaged very easily. It was like a different kind of glowing. And I went back and forth with supplier, got one sample in, and then the sample wasn't good. Had to wait a couple of weeks again.
Yeah.
I made so many mistakes in there, but that was a bit of the journey in there.
So just to break down on that, how much would you say you spent on samples?
Actually, I have a picture in my notes right now. I have a picture, like I literally, because I made a couple of $1,000s on the products I sold before. So I started like that broke. From literally nothing I started, with only a couple of $100 I started. And I built my bank account up by just selling COVID-related products and catching some hypes here and there. And I have this picture in my notes. I started with $500 in my bank account. $500. I put as budget to this, and I spent like a couple of $100. I think $300 on samples going back and forth. I had to pay for like the DHL coming in and out. I had to pay for like the import tax. And I almost went broke, and I only had a couple of dollars left to $100 left to buy some stock. So I literally started with only 10 pieces. That was the first batch I bought. 10 pieces.
Just 10 pieces.
10 pieces I bought, and I sold them. Okay, there was like a big struggle to sell them. We can dive deep into in a minute. But yeah, from 10 I went to 20 to 30, 40, literally. I didn't know about like this whole dropshipping model was very unfamiliar with me. I have never heard of it before, because I was like, there were not that many guys who were doing that back in the days.
So as a guy who started essentially with $500 or less than that, I really want to understand your motivation for wanting to start a brand. And to come to that, we've got to now come back to the whole backstory. So talk to me about your whole upbringing. What was your family life like? What was the financials around you like? What was your whole life like?
So as I said before, I grew up in a very small town in the Netherlands. And since
I was... the same place as Samuel Nuho?
No, he was from Amsterdam, I believe, close to Amsterdam.
Yeah,
I was the other side of the Netherlands.
Okay,
Netherlands is not that big, so most towns are small, but I was from a relatively small town.
Yeah.
And since I was born, basically, so I'm ethnically Chinese, and classically, as Chinese people usually have, my parents had a restaurant. They started off, when I was born, they already had a restaurant. So my mom is also Chinese. They're both Chinese, but my mom is born in the Netherlands.
Okay.
So she's native, and my dad is from China. Yeah. So after 16 years, he still can't speak the language. But classic Asian people. But since I was born, they had like a small takeaway Chinese restaurant. Literally, it was just very small. Okay. So I grew up only around like Chinese restaurant, this whole environment of a Chinese restaurant. We literally lived next to the Chinese restaurant. So I was there since I could walk. I was there. I can remember only being there. I think since I was 6 or 7, I started working there. Behind the counter, just packing stuff, sometimes taking some orders, literally as like this small Chinese child. Okay. I always wasn't that tall. So I was even smaller then. And since I was 12, my parents decided to go bigger. And it's also the same moment where I started going to high school. And my parents decided to go like from this small takeaway restaurant. They wanted to go to a all-you-can-eat restaurant. So it was like a buffet place. Which was also in a city nearby. And this business was 10 times bigger. Literally 10 times bigger. I remember it very vividly. Like my parents, I talked to them afterwards about it as well. They literally went most all in with their money again, with starting a bigger restaurant because they had more ambitions. Yeah. And we still have this restaurant to this day.
Oh, really?
And yeah. So I worked. So that's where from 11, 12 they started it, and I started working there. And so literally started washing dishes because like it's not a good look because I was very small, like for a child to stand outside, and was like a little bit more classic and more high class than a normal takeaway restaurant.
Yeah.
So I started as a dishwasher.
Yeah.
And my back still hurts from that shit. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I got a hernia there.
Yeah.
Because at the same time I was going to the gym.
Yeah.
And actually I didn't start going to the gym yet. At 11 or 12, because they started an all-you-can-eat place, I got fat as fuck.
Really? Okay, so you're just eating all the food.
Bro, like I was a little bit chubby before.
Yeah.
Some people say I'm still chubby in my cheeks, but anyways. But from that moment, the all-you-can-eat place, bro, I started eating everything. Because, bro, I thought it was because I was there every single day.
Yeah,
so I just, bro, every single night and during the work time, cookies, candy. And they just, like, my parents were too busy because we just opened and it was so busy. Every single day, I remember so vividly, it was so fucking busy. But obviously it was good, okay? And from that point, I actually never got paid. Okay, I never got paid. I always worked.
Your parents at the end of the day.
Just for the greater good.
Yeah.
And I started dishwashing. From there, I went to behind the counter and started taking orders. We also did a bit of takeaway. Then I started to take the phone. And at some point, I was just general manager doing everything. And it was always for the greater good. You know, I never got paid. So, and I learned discipline in there. So to answer your question, my biggest lesson and biggest takeaway from that was that my parents. Since I have conscious, my parents already had a restaurant. I learned this work ethic from them. Okay, that no matter how you feel, our restaurant is open 7 days a week.
Yeah.
So we just have to show up.
You just have to show up.
Yeah, exactly. And at the same time, I started going to high school. My parents started, like my friends now back then had like every weekend they had like a house party. They had their parties, and I always was the type of guy who said like, guys, I cannot come because I have to work. Because it was Saturday, it was the busiest day, it was weekend. And I always had so much FOMO, bro. It was crazy. I was like, bro, this sending me this message, this happened, bro, this girl's here. I was like, fuck. And always after work.
That's all that a teenager boy wants, isn't it?
Yeah.
When someone hears that there's girls around or when something says there's something fun going on.
Bro, I had so much FOMO. And always like once I got 16 or something, like 15, 16, like people started to drink and shit. I also started to drink. And that was every weekend there was a party. So I always after work around 10, I just went on my bike. I took all the leftover sushi with me and I went to the party afterwards there. So it was great times. But yeah, that's where I learned most of my work ethic. And I actually rolled into 2020. 2020 is when I was 15. And there was the first moment where I realized already back in the days that I didn't want to live this normal average life. I was in high school. I was doing the highest... I don't know in other countries how that's called, but I was basically doing the highest grade high school. So, but I wasn't the smartest guy. Like I've always been a smart guy, but I realized once I got into that higher level high school that I wasn't the smartest guy in the room, and I had to actually study to get a okay grade, just enough to pass. But like all the guys around me, bro, they didn't even study and they just easily got an A grade. You know what I mean? So I always had to learn and how to study, but I always realized that I wasn't meant for this going to the normal route, for going to university, and then like going the normal 9 to 5. But for me, it was either I'm going to start a restaurant, so I'm going to either take over my parents' restaurant and just work in like the restaurant business.
And stay in Netherlands forever.
And like I'd rather do that and work 7 days a week and at least drive a BMW or Mercedes than just go into a normal university and live a normal life. Because I always like kind of... felt I don't know what the word for that is, but I didn't feel attracted to that. Okay, like the normal student life. Like I actually never. I realizing right now that's why I don't party anymore. I don't drink anymore. That I actually don't like that life. And most of the students in the Netherlands, they live that student life where they like drink, party, and shit like that, and they don't really achieve anything. So at 15, I was on a bike ride home actually from school, from high school, and it was like before COVID. So this is December 2019, so before 2020 even. One of my best friends, who is still good friends with me to this day, he told me on his bike ride home, he told me like, bro, there's this Chinese guy online. He was also Chinese and he's Dutch, and he's talking about selling on like Dutch Amazon. And back then he was selling courses, by the way, but who knew about that shit? So I was like, bro, tell me more about this guy. So he sent me the video and when I got home, first thing I did, I watched that video. It was like a 30-minute video of like this Chinese Dutch guy who literally started, like, just gave a tutorial of 30 minutes how to sell products on the Dutch Amazon. So I was like, bro, this is like it something just clicked for me. It was like immediately like a eureka moment. I was like, bro, I should do this.
Yeah.
So I didn't even doubt about it. First thing I did was I started the research online. Okay, I watched more videos. I checked AliExpress. I was like just familiar platforms. But one issue which I stumbled upon, because if I wanted to sell on that platform, I needed like a registered business.
Okay.
In the UK, like a LLP, right?
Yeah.
In the Netherlands, like you need like an eenmanszaak, a sole proprietor, I think it's
Makes
called.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So because I was 15, I couldn't get it. So a lot of hurdles. We didn't have ChatGPT back in the day, so I just had to Google stuff. I know guys are nowadays very spoiled, but we didn't have that. And I realized that literally I could just I could open a business on like on my own name with my parents' permission, but I could just use my private bank account and stuff. So it took me a couple of weeks to figure that out, and after that, I saw the first opportunity. I saw the first opportunity, which was like AirPods were so hot. Everyone had AirPods, not the AirPods Pro yet, but just the normal ones.
Okay,
like the toothbrush one version.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but obviously these were very highly priced, and most people couldn't afford them. So there was this rip-off AirPods which people started selling online, and it started to come up. It was called like i11 or i8 or something. I don't know if you remember these, but
I remember a copy of AirPods that I remember my cousin bought, and they had like the police sirens, one blue, one red, and they kept flashing and stuff.
Exactly. They had like this police thing on it, and they had like this button on it, and they look very big. But I think they had the same function as AirPods. So I saw that coming up, and the first thing I did was literally just go to Alibaba. So I knew about that platform. I found it also on the tutorial, and I started to look up for these AirPods. But I didn't really start selling them right away on the Dutch platform, Dutch Amazon. I just started selling them on like a Dutch version of eBay.
Okay. Yeah.
And I just bought 20 pieces. 20 pieces, started listing them on there, and literally I still have all the pictures on my phone where I made a picture of the AirPods. I called it cheapest deals. That's how I call it.
Okay, yeah.
That's the name I just came up.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, cheapest deals. I listed on there, but bro, I made so many mistakes. Because on that platform, you have to like pay to come on top.
Yeah.
Like it was eBay. It was not really a normal selling platform. It was just people selling just their garbage online.
Anything, yeah.
And I actually made a loss on that. And I realized but I did learn how this supply chain worked. Like getting the products from Alibaba, talking to the supplier, talking English with them, and then getting the products in, having to pay import tax, which I didn't know about. And but eventually these AirPods are actually still in my home. But
they're still in the home.
They're still in my home. I sold like 10 of them or something.
Yeah.
And from there, actually, it was I sold that until like February of 2020. That's where my same friend who told me about this e-com, about this guy online. He said, "Bro, have you seen that there's?" He literally FaceTimed me. I was at home. I was studying for a test or something. He called me. He said, "Bro, there's this virus which is coming up in China." And like I think only the Chinese news knew about it. So we were very, very early. Like we're talking about beginning of February, so nobody really knew about it yet. So he said, "Bro, I think this is gonna go crazy because like it was spreading very fast in China. Everywhere it was. Well, obviously we're talking about the COVID virus in here.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to probably beat that out.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
But anyways, he said, "Bro, you know what is a genius idea? We have to sell a mouth mask." Bro, I thought, bro, that's the best idea ever.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You would know more than me, but am I right in saying that just a lot of people, regardless of the virus or not, a lot of people in China do wear like the face masks and stuff anyway?
I think it was fashion before. So obviously I never grew up in China, but I know about the Chinese culture. A lot of guys, they were like the black one as a fashion as well. But I know I think before COVID, a lot of guys and women guys were wearing face masks before, but now it's stereotype, right? But from that point, I said to him, "Bro, this is genius." So first thing we did is we literally went to our local store. Okay, it was just Action, it's called. It's like a big store in the Netherlands.
Yep.
We went there and they sold these mouth masks, but they were for construction.
Yeah.
They were not meant to be like not meant for COVID. Literally construction masks. So we bought like 100 of them. They were like 20 sets a piece, or like 10 sets a piece.
Yeah.
We bought all of them.
Take them, yeah.
And I had one friend who could do graphic designing. So what he did, also this friend from high school, he put like this picture we found online. He literally put like Corona proof on the mouth mask.
Yeah.
We were early, so we listed them on there for like $5 a piece. We were like, okay, this is genius, on the Dutch platform, Dutch Amazon. And in the beginning we didn't have much sales, but until this moment where in Italy, I think that was the first case which came up in Europe. The first case came up. One guy got COVID there. Bro, it came on like the news in the Netherlands.
Yeah, because I remember it was spreading from like China all the way, started to go west.
Yeah, west, and then first gate was in Italy,
Yeah.
and from there, bro, it came on like the news, bro.
Yeah.
From there, we sold out everything. The
Yeah,
100
yeah.
pieces, all gone.
Yeah.
$5 per piece, bro, all gone. We
Mm.
thought like, what the actual fuck? From that point, we were like, okay, how are we actually gonna send this? Because, bro, it was just mouth, like, it was in one box. You had like 20 pieces of mouth masks. They were just construction masks. I was like, bro, how am I gonna send this shit? So, and I just hit them at my home, right? I got
Yeah.
these orders in. So, the next thing we did as two genius 15-year-old kids, we went to the same store and we bought sandwich bags. Like literally the bags where you bring,
They
put your
seal up,
sandwich
yeah.
on. Yeah, the sealed
In the
one.
lunchbox.
Yeah, we just bought these for like 5 cents a piece, and we put the mouth mask in that sandwich bag, and we put like a label on it. We just send it out there, $5 a piece.
Yeah, done.
From there, first case in Netherlands, we still managed to get some mouth masks from the same store, like a couple of hundred of them, and we started listing them for like $15 a piece. It was crazy. And for five pieces, we put it on like $50.
Mm.
Bro, first case hit in the Netherlands, and we were selling that in the Netherlands, right? So, bro, from there went crazy. I remember like notification, sale, and just went crazy. We sold out the same day, and we couldn't get them anywhere. After that point, bro, Alibaba was sold out. Everyone was trying to get their hand on mouth masks, and I was just the first person like actually setting that and catching that hype in there before it was actually like before anyone caught that trend. And in the end, like we made like $700 per person. But back then, like,
wasn't that much then.
for us 15-year-old kids in high school, bro, we felt like kings.
Yeah,
We
of
said like,
course, yeah.
bro, we're gonna go eat to like the most expensive restaurant in the
Yeah,
Netherlands
yeah.
immediately, and then restaurants started to close
Yeah.
down, right? So it went crazy.
Yeah, it's interesting because in that period there, COVID, corona, the virus, whatever you want to call it, all those words which are going to bleep out. There were so many people who became millionaires, or they learned how to become millionaires, right? Because you'll have people who were, let's just say, in the 20s, 30s, who already knew what to do from the get-go. They already knew how to set up the store, make it efficient, and print millions, right? They knew that. And then you have people like yourself, the youngsters, who thought, okay, cool, this is the opportunity where we can discover more about e-commerce. So that might have been your first sort of take. And yes, you may have only made $700 per person, but it's led you to the business you're in now. It's given you the whole fundamentals. And in a time like that, that's where, as they say, literally millionaires are made. So
Exactly. If I knew what I know right now, I could have probably made millions with this mouth mask. I swear, I would have bought every single. I would have built my own factory in China, bro, to sell them.
Yeah.
And everyone needed them, so it was crazy. And from there, actually, to that, like from those mouth masks, this is my first taste of success. I saw this shit, like buying stuff from China. I actually bought them in the Netherlands, but like this e-commerce business model actually works.
Mm.
So all the people were talking online about this, and like they're not talking bullshit.
Yeah.
And that's all I needed to know. This model works. And from there, because I actually fell in love with sketching hypes and doing this, like just catching trends. I saw this trend where the gym started to close down as well in the Netherlands. Actually crazy that we had to use a QR code to go to the gym, but like that's a different story.
Yeah.
Most people forgot about that. But from that point, I started to sell at-home fitness bands, at-home pull-up bars, made a couple of $1,000s with that. And that's where I came to the point where at like 15, end of 15, where I started to start Brite. Mid 2020.
Is that because you were kind of already in the sports sector with all the pull-up bars or fitness bars and stuff?
Actually, if you look back at it, it makes sense, but I didn't think about it like that.
Okay.
Actually, it's just, it just naturally went like that.
Before we come to Brite, I want to kind of understand what your motivation was. And I don't know already asked that, but I want to find out what your first taste of money is. Because at the end of the day, we all do these things as young kids because we want money. We see a Lamborghini and stuff like that, and we think, all right, cool, I want to start a business because I want money. No one starts a business because they're like, oh, I want to change people's lives. At the end of the day, you start a business when you're young, it's because you want money. What was your first taste you had of money? Not necessarily through yourself, but you might have seen a Dutch guy around driving a Lamborghini. What was that first moment you kind of really thought, I need money in life?
I mean, when I was like since I started to get a phone, you got social media, right? TikTok wasn't that big back then. You had like Musical.ly and stuff, but Instagram was huge, right?
Yeah.
And you had these like Dutch influencers. They bought their Lambo. Like looking back at it now, I start to understand the business model, why they did it. They just went all in on their car, probably took a loan and everything. But besides that, I was like, bro, I want a Lambo as well. Like, just like you're saying, I was so money driven. I actually still money driven, but like I wanted to flex. Like that's the honest answer. Like I wanted to have something like which other people couldn't get.
Yeah.
I wanted to drive a Lambo, and I remember so vividly. I was literally in my parents' house, in my bedroom, just looking like putting my chair to the back, literally visualizing my hands on a Lamborghini wheel. And like now I have a Lamborghini. It's actually like pretty disappointing, to be honest, but that's a different story.
let's come into that story. What do you mean it's disappointing? You bought a Lambo at what age?
I bought a Lambo at 22.
In Netherlands?
Like 21 actually.
In
No, I bought it in Dubai.
Oh, you bought it here. Which one did you
actually,
buy?
the same color as the Huracan.
What, sack black?
Same color as the ball.
Oh, which one did you get? Huracan?
I'll show it to you in a minute. But it's a Huracan.
Oh, did you bring it here?
Yeah.
Oh,
Huracan.
okay.
It's here.
So why is it disappointing?
To be honest,
having a Lamborghini at 21 years old?
Like the thing is, I already knew beforehand because I bought it pretty late in my career.
Mm-hmm.
It was not the first taste of money which I had that I started to buy a Lambo. I could have bought it like 3 years ago probably,
Mm-hmm.
but I on purpose extended myself buying that because I knew that it wasn't really gonna bring me happiness because I already saw that all this traveling, all this luxury, the 5-star hotels and stuff. I was already taking like very expensive cars as just as taxi or just a chauffeur, right? And I already realized, and I said in Lambos before, that I like it. Just you get used to it, right? And I realized that the money, it can buy happiness, okay, but only to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And it can buy pleasure, okay, and pleasure is not the same as like being fulfilled in life. And I realized that okay, if I buy this Lambo, I already knew it was not going to make me happy, and it's a very freeing feeling actually for me that before I bought it, I already knew okay, I'm probably going to used to it, and now it's just in my garage. And I only drive it like one day a week.
Yeah.
That's when I drive it, and I don't use it.
Yeah.
So it was pretty disappointing, but I knew that it would strive me to work harder. This money motivation is I think it's a great motivator because it's something which goes outside of yourself, and it's something to prove to other people I can actually do this. And now I want a Rolls Royce, now I want a Bugatti, and it even strives me further. But it's a very freeing feeling to know that I know I don't expect it to make me happy. Okay.
I asked you in the beginning, what's the greatest lesson you've learned, right? I'm going to ask you a question here now, which is kind of on par, but slightly different as well. What's the biggest lesson you've learned about money?
I think if you chase money, if you chase something, that means it's running away from you. And I realize like the moments where I'm desperate, because a lot of times I have been desperate in my career, that's where I notice that things start to go hard. And it's not only about money, but it's about literally less than about anything in life. If you're chasing anything or desperate after something, it means it's running away from you. So you have to work harder to get it. And I noticed that if you have to, instead of chasing money, you have to attract it. Okay, you have to become the person in your mind first, who you want to become, to the level which you want to become, and then you can become in your pocket. What I mean with that is I always wanted to become a millionaire when I was 18. Okay, that was my goal. Unfortunately, I didn't hit it. I became it when I was 19, but I remember it very, very vividly. I was 18. And I wrote down literally on my notebook. I had my notebook in front of me. I was like, why am I not a millionaire yet? Like I know so many millionaires around me because I went to like Luc Baumart's event as well. That's where I started to meet him, and I was surrounded by so many millionaires.
You studied,
but yeah, I studied exactly. connect. But anyways, I had I had so many millionaires around me, but I only had like maybe a couple of 100K in my bank account and was going up and down. I had to reinvest in stock. I was like, bro, why am I not a millionaire? Literally, I was in my parents' home. I was writing down, like I know everything. I like what I have to do. I have a business. I know people who have done it. So it's proven for me. So why am I still not a millionaire? So I wrote down for me, and the first thing I wrote down was, apparently I am not a millionaire in my mind yet. Otherwise, I would have it in my bank account. So I was like, I have to become a millionaire in my mind first. Okay.
That first time when you experience, okay, I need to change my mindset. Back then, we don't think about mindset. You just think about making money. So when you heard this term of, okay, I need to become a millionaire in my mind, what was your first thoughts? Were you thinking?
I started to actually buy a book. It was one that Luke recommended to me. Was called The Magic of Thinking Big.
Okay, yeah.
For the guys who are listening, it's a great book. And in there, they describe a very simple concept. Basically, like if you're going to put your mind to anything anyways, like put it to something big. Okay, because if you put your mind to something big, even if you land among the middle, okay, you still have achieved more than you originally thought. It's like the 10x rule from Grant Cardone, right? And after I read that book, it was like mid 2022, just before the World Cup, before like Q4. That's why also I went to the first Capital Club event with Luke. I met him there. And after I read that book, I was like, I have to think bigger. Like I'm just caging myself. I'm boxing myself up. I'm having a limited mindset. I have this sort of imposter syndrome that I feel like deep inside, if I really deep inside I feel like I'm not worth the millionaire status yet. So I went back to my notebook. I was like, okay, after reading that book, I have to set bigger goals. So this is where I literally bought a whiteboard. Before that, I didn't really set goals. I just had like, sometimes I just wrote down, okay, I want to do 100K would be nice. But from that point, I bought a whiteboard and I actually put on there, because in the book they described as well. You need to set goals. Because imagine yourself going into your car. You don't set your navigation. You can land in Dubai. You can go to UK. You can land in the water. Like, you have to know where you want to drive to. You have to know your destination. So from that lesson, I wrote it down. Okay. In that book, they said as well, you have to think big. I first was like, okay, what am I going to put on there? Because my record month around then was like 400K, but it was last Q4. So at that moment, I was doing around 200-300K a month. It was outside of Q4, right? So I was like, you know what? The $1 million month. That's something which I just dream about. If I can hit $1 million in a month, that would just be like out of this world. Because back in the days, you have to realize, like, right now there are guys who are doing $10 million a month. Everyone is flexing their screenshots, right? But back in the days, bro, there was nobody publicly with their brand doing like $1 million a month. There were a couple of guys also in the UK, I believe, who were doing it, but like they were top of the game, like the gods in the game, right? So I was like, you know what? If I can do $1 million with these balls, that would be crazy. So I put $1 million on the whiteboard. Just fuck it. Just uncomfortable as fuck. I just put it on there. And I started to do the math. So I was still in my bed. I was grabbing my calculator. $1 million a month means I have to do $33,000 a day, which is like more than $1,500 an hour. So I have to sell like I do 500 to 1,000 orders per day. Like, that's crazy. Like, I didn't believe I could do it. Okay, I was like, bro, that's so much. How could I do it? Because my record day was like 15K, but it was 10, and I was only doing like between 5 and 10.
Yeah.
So I was like, bro, that's crazy. But you know what the great thing is about setting big goals? Because I put $1 million on that goal list, I realized with what I'm currently doing, it's not gonna happen. It's just unrealistic. Okay, I'm always very objective to myself. Like, doing 1,000 orders in just because I was selling with Brite Sport, still running that brand. I was only selling it in the Netherlands, and Belgium, and in Germany. That's it.
Okay, just maybe, 3 countries.
Just 3 countries, maybe a little bit of Sweden as well, but that was it. And I realized, like, for me, already doing like $10,000 per day in these small countries, I literally saw my product. When I went outside, sometimes my friends, they just send this ball to me. Like, when there's a kid who had a ball. Yeah. Everyone in the neighbor had seen my ads and had seen this product. So I realized, okay, if I really want to go to $1 million a month, I have to expand. I have to make bigger moves to reach these bigger goals. Okay, and the first move which I made was, okay, I have to scale internationally. Okay, like, it's nice. I'm selling in Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, but this is comfort zone. I have to go into UK because I did research and there was nobody really selling this in UK yet. Yep. And UK was my next first market. Then I went to the US, both approximately at the same time, just before Q4 2022. And bro, from that moment, when I expanded to UK and US, and all because I set those goals, right? Bro, I went to, first I went from 10K a day. I went to 15, to 20, to 30, to 40, to 50. And from that, bro, every single day I was going like 20, 30K up. And at some point I was doing 100K every single day. Okay, there was in around November 2022. And remind yourself, I was the first guy, because I was posting online about my brand Brite. I was the first guy, like, publicly doing 100K days with his brand. There were some guys doing it, but not like with a public brand, because you could just find.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
So at the same time, I got a lot of copycats and everything. But bro, from the 100K, at the same time, the World Cup was. I don't know, you remember probably 2022 World Cup was crazy. Yeah. And I always thought the UK was gonna bring it home, but that was sad.
We were going to until we didn't, but that's what the UK is always like.
I bet a big amount. That's why I also lost a big amount on gambling, but I bet on UK winning the World Cup. But from there, from 100K, I eventually hit 200K. And then I went to 300K. Bro, my parents were like, what the actual fuck? Like, I showed it to them. They were like, bro, no way. Like, this is fake. Like, because at the same time, I know I'm going very far in the story and skipping a lot of steps. But at the same time, bro, I switched my fulfillment, because I was doing my fulfillment just from the Netherlands. Okay, I was first doing fulfillment from home, so just packing orders from home, which was crazy.
Then you would have outgrown that for sure.
I did it all the way around. Yeah. So like what most people do right now. So from packing at home, I went to fulfillment center in the Netherlands. Yep. But with the fulfillment center in the Netherlands, you still have to like ship your bulk stock with a sea or with like the freight forwarder. You still have to ship it to the Netherlands, which takes a long time. So at the same time, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna move my supply chain to China. And moving from my supply chain to China, having my fulfillment and 3PL there as well, and my factory there next to it, bro, I managed to reach crazy scale.
Yeah, I can imagine, yeah. Crazy scale and probably a lot more better margins as well, right?
Yeah, like better margins as well and much faster. Like right now, from going from my factory to my 3PL, Okay, like third-party logistics. That means
Mhm.
it only took 1 day. So if I went from because my cash flow obviously was like it was hard to go from $10,000 per day to $300,000 per day in like 2 months time.
Yeah.
Like your cash flow has to handle it, and
Mm.
I had to max out my Amex, bro. My Amex, I had a lot of calls with Amex to max it out. Didn't have any loan. Nobody loaned me any money. Didn't take any loan from anyone. Just had to finesse my way, be creative with my money.
I'm gonna come to the scale of it in a second, but you mentioned something there which I think is an important topic for people to know, and that was goals. Now I know you mentioned your goal was to get to 1 million, and you've done that via opening internationally. If someone was to write their goals on a whiteboard right now, what are the actual steps you've got to break down to make sure you achieve those goals?
Good question. So first of all, buy a whiteboard. Okay, I think a whiteboard is just no brainer, because if you wake up, I would put it somewhere. I put it also somewhere like next to my desk, so somewhere where you just see it every single day.
Yeah.
Okay. First thing you want to do is, okay, you grab your whiteboard. You bought one. You have it in front of you. What I always like to do is start your goals low. Okay. I didn't just write on there like $1 million 1 month. Okay. I didn't just write it on there. I started very low with like $30K a month. But obviously I was already doing $100,000 to $200,000 a month.
Yeah.
But I went from like I put on there like, so the first circle was like 30K, then I went to 50, then I did 100, then I did 300, then I did 500, and then I did 1
In
million.
increment steps.
Yeah, exactly, in increment steps. Because I see a lot of people that put very big goal in there. And some of my students, they do this well, but I always tell them this is not going to work, because you don't see any progression towards that goal. So you're just never gonna look at it anymore. You're like, fuck it, and eventually just gonna leave it behind.
Yeah.
But if you actually see yourself making progression, you give yourself confidence that you're gonna reach the next goal. Okay, so to give it practically for all the listeners, like you want to start very small. So if you want to reach 100K in a month, you want to start with like just 1K, just 1K a month, then to 5K a month, then to 10K a month.
Yeah.
And once you put it on there, there's no, you write it on there, you put it somewhere next to your bed, and you have to make yourself one promise. This is more of a mindset thing, but I know it sounds very cliche, but that's the same thing I did. I just put it next to my desk, and I made myself the promise: I am not gonna quit until I've reached these goals. And you have to realize that if you make yourself that promise, then there's literally no other option in the universe than not to reach them. Like, if you make yourself the promise, I didn't care. Like, I put their goals 2022, but I didn't care how long it was gonna take. If it was gonna take until 2025, until 2024, I didn't give a fuck.
Was there ever a point throughout them goals of when you put a timeline in it and you ever thought, I'm gonna give up?
With the 2022 goals, I didn't, because the timing was perfect, and I like the World Cup became after that. So I just want to be realistic with you. Like after that, like once I wrote down those goals, I saw going from 100K to 1 million, and I even had to like wipe out the 1 million and then go write down 2 million, 3 million, and then 4 million, which was 4.5 was the record that year. But like afterwards, I tried to replicate the same thing again, 2023, 2024, and that's the moment where I got a lot of struggles, to be honest.
So then, in terms of scale, I know you said you opened internationally, but what else did you do to scale to that $1 million or even $4.5 million a month? Were you just pumping money in ads, or what was the actual business strategy behind it?
It's a good question. So there was a lot of things we did at the same time. So I want to dive into every aspect, right? So the first one was scale internationally. I knew that if I wanted to do more orders, I had to expand my target audience. Okay, we briefly touched on it already, but I saw a gap that nobody was doing in the UK, and I still had this competitor in the US, but I knew, bro, I could do so much better than them.
Okay,
I just knew, and at the same time, because I was going to scale into the US, I knew, okay, I'm only selling this football, I have to sell an American football, because people like that. I have to add, I was already selling a basketball, but American football also went crazy in the US.
Yeah, because that's way bigger than soccer.
Yeah, exactly. Like, in soccer, it's not big in the US. So I found some UGC creators in the US, let them make some ads, and bro, these also went crazy. But I gotta be honest as well, and I wouldn't be realistic enough if I wouldn't say it, is that the timing was also perfect, because it was just before Q4, the World Cup was going on, Black Friday was going on, but obviously I positioned myself at that moment to be in these countries.
Yeah.
So at the same time, and the second point is fulfillment. I already briefly touched on it, but I moved my supply chain from local fulfillment to international fulfillment from just one place, which was next to my factory. So because of that, I had international scale. I could easily add Sweden. I could easily add Denmark. I could easily add US, UK, Australia, Canada.
From one place anyway.
Exactly, because I could just scale from one place.
Yeah.
Like if you do the traditional method, you have to get local stock in the US. You need a warehouse in the UK. You need a warehouse in Australia.
Yeah.
And to manage that, your cash flow wise is going to be dramatic.
Yeah, it's dramatic.
Okay?
Yeah.
So that helped. So there's a second part, fulfillment. Third part, which really helped for me, is that I realized, I'm just putting all my gems out there. Okay, I realized I was literally looking at my metrics. I was in my Shopify dashboard. I was like, bro, I am shipping next day delivery. Okay, I was doing next day delivery because I was doing local fulfillment in the Netherlands. I was like, bro, I'm doing next day delivery and only like 5% of my customers are coming back.
Yeah.
So I had a retention rate of 5%. From the 100 customers I had, 5 customers were actually buying another ball.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, I'm doing next day delivery. I'm giving thank you cards. I'm doing everything right. And still 5% is coming back. And that's where I realized, bro, like you're buying a soccer ball. Why would you need another ball?
Mm.
And that it was a big mental shift for me because I realized, bro, if customers are not gonna come back anyways, like why would I not just do everything possible to have them buy right now?
Yeah.
Like I don't have to, for example, like to give this a practical example about this, the big change I made was before I only did like sale events like Black Friday sale, Christmas sale. Yeah. I only did that on the day itself.
Mm-hmm.
So I only did like Black Friday sale on just Black Friday because I thought like, bro, other big brands like Nike and everything,
they all spread it out over the week, over the whole month.
Exactly, but they keep their brand image high by just selling like keeping it like very fair, right? Customers, okay. If they say the sale ends tomorrow, the sale ends tomorrow.
Yeah.
So what I did, I was like, bro, customers are not gonna come back anyways. I have to go all out. So what I did, I just started my Halloween sale. It was October. I started like the beginning of October. I started my Halloween sale. And I just gave a no-brainer deal, which ends in 24 hours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like 24-hour deal, but obviously didn't end in 24 hours. But it worked, okay?
That's what a lot of brands do now. Because if you see it, sorry to interrupt you there, but you see it on a lot of brands' websites. If you go on like fast fashion sites, they'll say sale ended in 8 hours. You can go back to that website in 8 hours' time, and the countdown reset to something else. Yeah. Like it's constantly the countdown, which is mad because it plays with human psychology to make them think, I need to get it now.
Yeah.
But really and truly, it's not even ending then anyway.
Like what I realized at that point is like, bro, customers are not like, they're not coming back to my site after 24 hours to check that sale.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they don't even know. So like, let me just put a sale on there. And obviously I had a very good deal on my website. So I made a no-brainer deal and I had this sale event, which I just ran for the entire month.
Yeah.
After Halloween, I went to Black Friday, but I started in the beginning of November.
Yeah.
And because of that, okay, two things which happened. First of all, your conversion rate just goes crazy, right? Because you have a sale running, and the Black Friday sale ends in 24 hours. So everyone just like, I want to buy right now.
Yeah.
But second of all, I had room to scale, which was very important. Like it's hard if you're just running your Black Friday sale on just Black Friday alone, or just a Friday, it's hard to scale up your ads if you're doing like $10,000 per day to go towards $300,000 per day in just one day. Facebook like needs time to scale.
Yeah.
So I could just double my budgets every single day because I had time and I had room to scale. And because of these three things, which I implemented, that's why I reached the scale of $300,000 per day.
Sick, bro. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now to the manufacturing side of things, right? Because this, I'm going to grab the football again because I genuinely like it and I like the...
You can keep it.
I know it's weird. Oh, cheers, bro. I don't even know I'm going to put it. I'm going back to London soon. But I know it's a weird thing to say, but I like the texture as well. Yeah, because probably the material, something like that. So this ball itself, did you design and find a manufacturer yourself and all that sort of stuff? Like, what was the whole process of actually creating the ball itself? Because I know you said you've got your manufacturing now and shipment and stuff like that from China, right? And obviously a lot of products that we know nowadays are made in China. So what was your whole process to it?
At first, I started with Alibaba. So I literally went to Alibaba.com.
Yep.
I searched like glowing football. I messaged like 10 suppliers with like a template. Literally, I had a template. I sent it to them.
Yep.
If guys want a template, you can just DM me on Instagram. I'll send a template to them. It's like an easy template. And sent it to 10 suppliers. I just saw the guy, the person who responded the fastest, had the best prices, and the English was fast, which is very important. These three things I'm looking at for a supplier. Found a supplier, they had the best prices, got in touch with them, got a sample in, obviously went back and forth like for 2 months, getting everything ready for and getting the product perfect. It was not the product we just see right now, actually.
Yeah, no, you said
it had a lot of versions. Yeah. So from there, work with them for like 2 years. But one big mistake I actually made, okay, this is for a lesson for all of the guys who are listening and in e-com or want to start e-com. I always thought that my manufacturer, my factory was the best one, and there were no other ones. And that's a mistake which cost me literally millions down the line. I swear, like if I do the math, I don't want to do the math, but I should do the math because
let's do the math.
Okay. I found a new manufacturer after the whole Q4 craziness 2022 after the World Cup. 2023, I found a new manufacturer. My contact in China, my agent, put me in touch with another manufacturer. He said, bro, Alex, there's a supplier in here who sells the same products, but he sells for like, he has like $3 less. It's like, no way. I don't believe it. So I was like, he already sent to me like a long time ago, but I just put it away. I said, no way.
Yeah.
My supplier is the best. I know I negotiated with her. I'm Chinese. She's Chinese. I have the best price.
Yeah.
Little did I know. Okay, after the whole craziness, I contacted this other supplier, which he sent to me. I got on a call with him. He said, bro, I can give you like the ball for like 40% less than I have right now. 40%. I said, I don't believe you. Like, okay, let me see. Probably the ball of shit. Probably
Yeah,
like
there's got to be
plastic or
something wrong
shit.
with it. Yeah.
Gotta be something wrong. No way. But I was coping, right? So he sent me a sample. And it was after I sold already like tens of thousands of units, right? He sent me a sample. I was like, bro, no way. This ball's even better. Like, it bounced better. It just, bro, it was just better. More durable. It was the exact same product, but even better. 40% less cost of goods. Eventually, I even negotiated down to 50% less cost of goods. So I went from like $7 a ball to like $3.50 per ball.
Yeah, crazy.
Bro, and if I do the math, like, bro, I could have said I could have done $1 or $2 million extra profit in my pocket. All because I was arrogant. And I like one big mistake I made. So that's what I'm telling other guys as well. Like, don't be arrogant and don't be stubborn. Like, check out there, because there's hundreds of thousands of millions of suppliers in China who deliver the same product and could do it for cheaper, especially if you got the right contacts.
You just have to be open-minded.
Exactly. You have to like actually put in the time to go to China, because I right now obviously was COVID, so I never went. And in last year, it's the first time I went to China and visited the manufacturer as well.
Yeah.
And you realize that, bro, you can negotiate so much more. You can find other suppliers who are way cheaper, because you have to realize that Alibaba is like some sort of, is like our AliExpress for them. Like, or Amazon for them.
Yeah.
Like the resellers are on Alibaba.
Okay, yeah.
Like, you have sites like, I'm gonna drop them in here, like 1688 dot something.
Yeah.
Bro, like, you can look it up on Google. Bro, these websites, they have the real suppliers. And you'll see that most of the time on Alibaba, they're even dropshipping you. So the dropship is getting dropshipped.
The dropship is getting dropshipped. That's crazy. But everyone watching this right now, you lot are getting some e-com gems. I want to come to this, right? Because you were mentioning China. You went to China recently for manufacturing, but also you went to China, you made a vlog out of it because you met one of the most viral people out there, aside from Ashton Hall, who's now viral. You met Mr. Tony from LC Sign himself. As I said, his TikToks and his Instagram reels and everything speaks for itself. Everyone knows who he is. How did you get in touch with him? Why did you go and see him? What was the whole story behind it? Tell me.
That's funny, actually, because I was already going to go to China. I was going to go with my cameraman for the first time to like visit the manufacturer, visit my agent. And I was asking my friends, I was asking my cousin, like, bro, who should I meet? And there's not many like Western famous Chinese people, like, right? And so he told me, bro, you should meet this LED sign guy. I was like, who's that? He showed me a video. I was like, I've seen his videos. Yeah, like, I see him everywhere, but I didn't really follow him. Just like this LC sign guy, this Tony guy.
Yeah.
So I watched some of his videos. I was like, bro, this is crazy. So first thing I did is I just went to his WhatsApp in his bio. I was like, let me get in touch with him. I just went a message. So okay, I'm gonna be honest in here. I got myself way in. I just said, bro, I want to buy like 1,000 pieces of LED signs.
Okay, yeah.
I just showed interest in the product. I said, bro, this is my LED brand. I want to like have some Brite Sport signs. And at that point, I got in touch with the sales rep. From the sales rep, I said, okay, let's do a call. And I said, can I speak to Tony? Because I saw that you're a spokesperson. There was some holiday in China, Chinese New Year. So I was like, and it was already like, was going to go to China the next day.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck, it's probably not going to happen. Too good to be true. Fuck this shit. Then he suddenly responded. He said, I got put in a WeChat group with like Tony himself. I was like, bro, what the fuck? And I went to the group call. Tony was in there. I got translated just to be sure. I can speak Chinese, but I just wanted to have it translated in there for sure. Just to be sure. My team in there as well. We said, bro, let's do a collab, man. Let's run it. And he was immediately in. I was like, bro, this guy's so chill.
Yeah.
I saw him like very, very high. I still see him very high, right? This is a great guy. And I was like, this guy's just chill guy, right? And from there, we planned a date. I came there. We shot some shorts, which went crazy viral.
I've seen them. The shorts are wicked as well.
It was funny as fuck. And this guy, bro, he's like this Tony guy. He's even more funny in real life than he is online. And from there, met him and became good friends. And bro, he's so down to earth.
In China, is he as famous as he is in the Western world?
I asked him actually, and I don't think he is, because in China they have their own social media platforms.
I was going to say,
you have like the Douyin, this is Chinese TikTok. You have Xiaohongshu, but he's like very famous on the Western platforms. So
they have TikTok in China as well, right?
Douyin, it's called. It's the Chinese TikTok.
So which one? Okay, that is the Chinese TikTok.
Yeah, it's called Douyin.
Yeah,
it's it's the same parent company, ByteDance.
Oh, okay.
And TikTok
is
just
labeled
Chinese.
differently.
Yeah, so they just have their own version. And I heard a lot of rumors where they're saying that that like you see these rumors, right? But in China they say
They
they
show
only have
educated stuff.
like only educated stuff.
Yeah.
This bullshit, bro. I've seen the biggest brain rot in China, bro. Even more brain rot than the European brain rot, bro. It's crazy.
The brain rot on TikTok and that is crazy. Do you know what? As we're on the topic, right? You're a young guy. How do you not fall into brain rot? And I'm not necessarily talking about social media. I'm including social media, but I'm also just talking about in real life stuff as well. How do you stay away from that brain rot activity?
Bro, I don't. That's like, you want my honest answer? I don't. Like, bro, I catch myself when I'm in the toilet. Like, I'm in between meetings. I'm like, let me open my TikTok, and I always cope it like, let me check my own account. Like, how my own account is doing. That's why I haven't deleted the app, because I want to check my own account. That's cope, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And then somehow TikTok, always the first video I'm watching is always great. Like the first video I'm getting, I'm like, fuck, I can't go to my own account. I have to watch this TikTok. And I'm watching it. I'm like, bro, this is so interesting. And I keep scrolling. And I eventually you hear like the tum 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 tum. I hear all the brain rot.
Random
It's
different
crazy.
stuff. Yeah.
Bro,
it's hours for the brain.
Like, but it's dangerous. The brain rot is literally dangerous, because if I think about it, even the last 5 shorts which I watched, I can't remember them.
Yeah.
So it's literally like, if you watch a YouTube video, you at least remember what you've seen.
Yeah.
You at least got some lesson out of it. For example,
you got some sort of value.
Don't do that. Like with a short, it's so dangerous nowadays, because you're just forgetting what you're seeing. Literally.
You know the reason why I don't like shorts, right? Is because, and this is my theory. I'm a conspiracy theorist as well, by the way. Yeah, professional.
We should talk about it.
But I genuinely believe that these platforms make short form content to essentially rot people's brains. I know there's that term brain rot, but I'm talking about literally cut their attention span and make sure that if they don't have someone's attention in a millisecond, they got to move on. And you see that in so many people's. I just feel like people's IQ are dropping purely because of stuff like TikTok and stuff.
I think it's a fact. I think it's probably a fact.
Well.
But bro, you have in these companies like Meta, TikTok, ByteDance, Snapchat, they have scientists, literally full time, a team of scientists working there, how to keep you on that platform, how to keep you addicted.
Yeah, well, that's what every platform wants. You know, when everyone talks about algorithm, this and that, and the other, there's no algorithm. All it is just that platform wants that person on their platform as long as possible. And if you could do that, then your videos are going to go viral.
You know what Kanye West said, right? Like, if the platform if it's free to use, you're probably the product.
Yeah.
And it's true. Like, if you're on Instagram, if you think about it, if you just like refresh your Instagram page, it's like a slot machine, which literally goes up and down. It's the exact same mechanics.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think about that. Like, for some reason, when I open my phone, but I fall trapped into it as well. They're so good that everyone I know around me is like falling in that trap. Older people.
Yeah.
My mom is on TikTok the whole day. But when I open my phone, first thing I open is Instagram for some reason.
Yeah, literally, when you wake up, when you open your eyes, I say Instagram, stuff like that.
But the thing is, they've done such a good job that you can delete it. Like, if I delete it, like, I'm just ghosted everywhere. Like, nobody knows anything is going on. Obviously, not everyone has to know that you exist. But like, nowadays, if you don't have Instagram and you don't have like social media, it's where all our kind of people are on, right? Yeah. All Gen Z, all millennials are on this platform.
If you want to reach the people,
you don't even exist if you don't have Instagram.
Yeah,
it's right.
It's crazy.
So they force you to have it. It's a network effect. It's crazy.
It's crazy. I want to come into the wealthy side of things, right? As we said in the beginning, $30 million at 22. And before I come to ask you questions about what's the most expensive stuff you've bought or wasted money on, etc., because I'm sure you would have had those moments as well. You moved to Dubai. Why?
I mean, there's only one right answer. I think that's for everyone, which starts with T and ends on S. I think everyone can fill that gap in.
Yeah.
But without diving too deep into that subject, because I think all Europeans are moving that because of that. Because if the tax rate would be like 50%, I probably wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah.
But obviously, the tax rate is great. It's only 9% nowadays in here. But bro, it's first of all, weather's always amazing. Network is perfect. It has some downsides, but overall, I've traveled the whole world. I've been in Asia. I didn't went to Africa yet, but been to a lot of places in the world. And overall, Dubai, if you just list it down in upsides and downsides, Dubai is still the best.
Yes.
So I think it's a no-brainer to move here.
And you got a nice apartment as well. How comes you went all out on the apartment too? Because anyone could come here and get any sort of place, right? So this is now where we get into the spending habits and the wealth and what you do with the money you've earned. So not necessarily the apartment, but what's like the most expensive thing you bought?
Probably the most expensive thing I bought, which I remember, is the Lamborghini.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Lamborghini which I bought a couple of months ago. It was my dream car. I had it financially. I obviously have done pretty well. So I was like, you know what, this is the moment. And
which one is it?
It's a Huracan.
Okay.
But I wanted to put it in the same color as the Brite bulb.
Yeah.
Because I always visualized, okay, if I'm gonna buy it one day, I know it's very flashy, but I just want to put the same color.
Yeah.
Fuck it. That's gotta be the color which I put on it. But that's my most like expensive purchase. But I would say stupid purchases. I mean, I bought a watch which is diamond, iced out. Obviously, not worth anything anymore if you ice it out.
That's still nice.
But I like it. I'm young anyways. I don't give a fuck. But besides that, like I think I've wasted. You know where I waste a lot of money on,
gone.
which is really just wasted. Because look, if you buy a Lamborghini, okay, I buy it for $200,000, $300,000. I paid like $220,000, I think, for it.
Yeah.
Like the thing is, it still has worth. Like after a year, I
you
tried
sell
it. I
yeah.
had fun. I probably made content if it made some ROI with it.
Yeah.
I can still sell it.
Yeah.
But for like 10% loss, 20% loss. But one place where I waste a lot of money is gambling. That's a
Gambling on what?
bro, sports betting, blackjack. I'm Asian, bro. Like I just gotta gamble. You know what I mean?
Is it an Asian culture to do so?
I don't know. I think it's in our genes, bro. I think it's in our genes that we just like. And I'm very, I want to say addictive, but I'm dedicated. I'm a dedicated person. So
No, that's addictive.
I just like I cannot lose. So I
That's,
just want to keep
that's
going.
like someone saying to me that they're dedicated to their vape. It's just addiction, bro. It's just addiction.
I'm dedicated to my blackjack table, bro. But I mean, obviously, like that's some place where okay, I lose money. For example, I lost like 50K on Formula One when I went there. Like that's just money which is just gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wasted.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why did I do that?
Which F1 did you go to?
The Abu Dhabi one, last one.
Last,
December.
yeah, was it good?
Abu Dhabi. No, I don't think it's good. I think Formula One is like a sport which I don't even. I think it's just.
A lot of networking there, though. I went.
Did you ever went?
Yeah, I went to Abu Dhabi one, not last year, 2 years ago, and the year before that as well. Wicked for network, but it depends where you are.
Exactly.
So where I was, we was on the side of W Hotel, where there's
That's the best place, right?
yeah, one of the like it's like almost like I don't want to sound like egotistic, but like it's almost like VIP area.
Yeah.
So the people you meet there are next level.
Exactly.
But I've been the first time I ever went, I was on the South Grandstand, so literally right at the back of the lap.
Yeah.
And there's just no one. You don't chat to
Exactly.
anyone there. There's nothing to do.
Yeah, I think if you go for networking, is probably unmatched because only rich people watch it.
Yeah.
Like go there, especially in Abu Dhabi and Monaco to actually watch it. But like the sport, if you talk about the sport itself, I'm just not a fan yet. Maybe who knows once in the future because like you just see cars lapping all the time. It's much more fun. You see all the people on the yachts also watch it on TV.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, fits. What's the next steps for yourself? E-commerce, the brand, the whole lot. Where do you want to take the brand, and then we'll talk about yourself.
Good question. So at the moment, which I'm doing, what I'm doing right now is I run 4 active brands at the moment. I have 4 brands. Brite, but obviously one of the ones. But I've been very realistic to myself that I'm selling glowing footballs. Let's be honest in here. Like, and I talked about the recurring revenue rate before, right? Customers coming back, and I've been very honest to myself. I've always been like, okay. You can only scale it to a certain point if customers are not coming back. Like if you're selling clothing, you're selling supplements, customers can actually be coming back.
Yeah.
They don't need a second ball.
Yeah.
So when I realized that, okay, there's another long-term business model in selling glowing balls, I can do much more. I was like, okay, let me exit this company. So this is after 2022. And in 2023, I tried to exit it. I can dive very deep into it, but didn't work out. Unfortunately, I had 3 offers on the table, fell at last minute for life-changing amounts of money, by the way. Spend a lot of 6 figures on lawyers, accountants, you name it. Didn't work out last minute. Unfortunately, fell out. And at some point, I was like, okay, you know what? This is not worth my time anymore to go into this whole process again, due diligence, the whole talking to buyers, you name it. So I was like, okay, let me just keep it for cash flow. So after this was like a year ago, something, right? But I knew, like, I have a team for Brite, okay? Like, obviously, there was a whole process getting the team there, but I finally, also because of the exit process, I automated and got myself out of the business. So it's running pretty automated.
Okay, yeah.
So, like, just being realistic in here, Brite is still doing well, but it does the best. It's pretty seasonal, so it does the best during Q4. Okay, like, obviously, the World Cup is coming next year again. We'll probably do very well in there. It's going to do record days again there. We got things lined up there as well, but... it's pretty seasonal. So it's not at this point in entrepreneurship. Like I've been running this brand for literally 6 years already. I'm crossing my 6th year right now. So is it really worth my time to put all my eggs into selling glowing balls? Like I genuinely believe in the concept of it matters in which lake you're fishing in which league you're in. Like if you're in the women's NBA, it's very hard to make $1 billion or become a billionaire in the NBA, in the women's NBA, right? But if you go to the NBA, you can become a billionaire. So it matters in which league you're playing, right? And I think in the glowing ball league, so to say, like it's hard to make $1 billion, and I want to make $1 billion. So that's what I'm working on right now. I'm working on a new startup, which I've been working on for a while. I'm not gonna say what it is right now, but yeah, I'm investing a lot of my money.
Is it in the e-commerce space?
No, it's not an e-com space. I want to go outside of the e-com space. It's also digital. It's digital though. but like without giving too much about it, I'm working on it for a long time already. And I'm putting like a lot, like just being transparent to you right now, I'm putting a lot of my money into this project right now. So it's requiring a lot of my money because I'm self-funding it. I've got a big team in there, which requires like very high 5-figure overhead every single month. And we're not making any profit or revenue yet. So that's where most of my money is going. That's why I cannot live that lavishly in terms of buying, like living on the Palm, like a mansion on the Palm, or like buying a Rolls Royce. Because I have to put it into the startup.
Yeah.
And so what I'm doing at the moment, I'm running 4 brands at the same time. 4 brands, some of them have partners in them. So my partners are running that. For example, my head coach, Jacob, which is a legend. He's my head coach within my coaching program. And he's running a lot of the brands. He's very good at e-com. He's running some of them. 4 brands are mostly automated. They're still doing 7 figures a month. Between, like some months we hit like 7 figures, low 7 figures. So $1 million. Some months we hit $3 million. That's also with Brite included. But like during Q4, I know when Q4 starts again, like with Brite, we can just scale up again towards $200,000, $300,000 a day. But for me right now, it's just not worth my time to put all my time into Brite. But what we're doing right now with Brite is we're diversifying our eggs into more products which actually have people coming back to. That's our priority right now. We want to sell products which actually has recurring revenue rate.
Talk to me about the exit process, because I know you said you were looking to exit and there was offers on the table. You already mentioned why you wanted to exit, but that whole process, I know for some businesses can take up to a year to even 2 years to exit their business. Podcast I done yesterday, the guy exited his business and that took a whole full year. So did that have any mental stress on you, and did that change the way you look at the business, the way you look at life? What was it exactly?
So I think it's one of my lowest moments in my life, probably, when I was through the exit process. Like honestly, if I look back at my career, like the moments, okay, when I started Entrepreneurial, that was probably my lowest moment. When my girlfriend broke up, right, it wasn't working. That was my lowest moment. But my second lowest moment, which equally as bad, was during the exit process. Because you probably talked to this guy yesterday as well. Crazy that he actually made it happen, because I know how much effort it requires and how hard it is to exit it. Because I think I started the process first of all in the wrong moment, because I think you have to exit a company when it's at the uptrend. And for me, I started the process after Q4. So I was in a sort of downtrend with my brand. Okay, so, and that's not good, right? It's not good for the looks as well, for a buyer. And I learned so many lessons in terms of, I didn't have my finance in order. So I had to fix all my books. Throughout all the companies, throughout all the bank accounts, we had to like fix 4 years of transactions. Since I started in 2020, I had to fix my transactions. Every single receipt. I went out to eat, I had to get a receipt. I was like, bro, I don't have this anymore. Like,
yeah.
So I had to sort that out. Took like half a year. I had to wait on that, and then we could speak to buyers. But like once we spoke to buyers as well, it started to go better. But one thing which I hated about the exit process, which is just something which comes with it, is that you have this. You're putting all this effort in, right? You're putting so much time into this. You're paying accountants, your lawyers, and you have an uncertain outcome, which I hate. And at the same time, while you have this uncertain outcome, there's also, you have to keep your business up. So at the same time, you're fixing your books, you're talking to buyers, you're like thinking about how can I move myself out of the business? How can I make this more sellable, more attractive to buyers? At the same time, you have to keep your numbers up. And the worst thing is, you cannot take too big of a risk, because if you take big risks, like your numbers will risk going down. So you have to keep it stable while fixing the exit process.
Yeah.
And I hate that. So
you have to stay in a very stagnant place.
Exactly. Like if you're going down, it's very stressful. You're like, bro, I have to push the numbers up. And it's a very shit position to be in, to be honest. And also, like, you're putting your whole destiny in someone else's hands. And a buyer, you have to see like this. A buyer is always trying to convince you that what you have is not worth much. But
because they want to bargain.
Exactly. They want to like convince you that you don't have anything. But me as a seller, as the owner of the brand, I'm trying to convince them that what I have is great.
Yeah.
So at the same time, you have like it fights. So then like they ask very tough questions. Like, why did you have a dip in 2021? What happened there? And I was like, bro, I was in school. I was finishing my exam, so I couldn't focus on it. And they're like, I understand. So the exit is mental, bro. The process is for people who are doing it. Like, I learned a lot, obviously, but it's something which takes a big mental toll.
Definitely, bro. Definitely. Is it something you'd want to exit in the future then? Even after knowing all this process and you know what the whole procedure's like, would you want to go down that route again?
For Brite Sport, probably not. For Brite Sport, maybe if we like have another crazy World Cup run, maybe we'll exit it. Because I obviously now have fixed my books, everything is on order, so it is exitable probably. But like the whole question is, okay, is it worth my time and effort to go into the process again? But I now have the context and I know how it works. For Brite, probably realistically not. For the other brands, maybe, because other brands also have more recurring revenue rate, which is one thing. Because for Brite, just being real with you, the multiplier wasn't that high because customers were not coming back.
Yeah, so that's what you learned in this.
Exactly, and buyers are looking for something which is sustainable for long term. So they want something which actually has a big recurring revenue rate, customers coming back, big community base, and we didn't really have that with Brite.
It's just like Hailey Bieber sold her,
bro, that's crazy, bro. Like I actually, like, once I read that, I was like, bro, because I saw her start that brand in 2022 or something, and you exited in 3 years, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's mental, bro.
Respect, bro. That's like, for probably she has other people who are running that brand, but you see the exits are very real. And obviously, I think one thing which she did very well is the branding and the content they have. Like, bro, it's crazy.
I know you asked me before the podcast if I do anything else other than podcasts, but if there is one thing I do want to do, is to build a brand to sell. And it doesn't necessarily mean an e-commerce brand or something like that, but build something to sell, because that's where the life-changing money comes from. You know what I mean? It's all good making 100, 200, 300, 400 grand, whatever it may be per month, but having that big lump sum of multiple millions, maybe even 9 figures, that's where the whole life-changing stuff is.
Exactly. I mean, that's what you see. If you look at most wealthy people, even in like the Forbes or every wealthy person you know in Dubai, they even exited their company, they IPO'd it, or they sold their shares to a private equity or something. And that's the game which I want to play as well with my next company. Obviously, I want to make a lot of cash. But I also want to have a big payday. Because I know, like, you don't even have to exit your company completely. You can stay on. You can sell your shares. You can have a buyout. And there's so many ways. And like, that's what I realized as well. My whole mindset shifted as well during the exit process. I was like, okay, this month I have done, for example, in 1 month I done $700,000 in profit with just Brite. I was like, okay, if you put a multiplier on there, my multiplier was between 1.5 and 2 EBITDA. So it was bear market back then. So probably right now it's higher nowadays, but especially after the road exits probably. But 1.5 to 2. So I could get like, to do the math, like 1.05 million to $1.5 million I could get on that month alone for the exit. So if you think about it, like all this profit you've done over those months, like that you can get a multiplier on that. So that's crazy.
It is mental.
The whole mindset shift.
Mental. And what do you want your future to look like? You're 22 now, so let's imagine yourself, your life at 30 years old. In fact, let's do this exercise, Close your eyes for me.
Okay. Yeah. My eyes are already closed. I'm Asian, but I'll close it even more.
I'm not gonna laugh. It's racist if I laugh. You're 30 years old.
Yeah.
Where are you in the world? Where are you living? What does your house look like? Car collection look like? What does the family life look like? And what does the wealth status look like?
30 years old, so it's in 8 years from now.
Yeah.
Good question. I think far, but usually not that far. To give answer to your question, but billionaire for sure, because that's a goal of mine. Not billionaire in dirhams, like talking billionaire US dollars or euros, British pounds. Billionaire for sure, because that's the goal for the next company as well. Billionaire, have many kids. I do have to get to work though. First find a wife, because if I have many kids there, I still got 8 years left, so I got to get to work. Probably based Dubai. Be in Asia a lot as well, because I feel home in there. But for sure, billionaire, have a company which is spitting out cash every single month, which I don't have to exit, which is very important. Because I think if you have a company which don't even want to exit, that's even better position. And I can live a life which I feel fulfilled, inspire more people. Already inspiring some people with the small following I have, but on a bigger scale, be respected in entrepreneurship community, and hopefully out of e-com. That's my goal. Obviously, want to move out of e-com in the coming years and go into bigger businesses. And I think I have a rough vision of where I want to be in like 5 years, 10 years, but hopefully a much more leveled up version of which I'm right now. Because I genuinely believe, as a person, if you are in the same position as you are right now, like in a year from now, as you are right now, then you've done something very wrong. And I still struggle with this, because if I look at my past year, like, I've grown a lot financially as well. Also on social media, I've grown a bit, but like, I haven't made that many of crazy moves, which I want to. And time flies for some reason so fast. So like, I could be 30. It feels like tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, it's most importantly for me that I keep moving. I keep pivoting. I have this North Star. I have to keep pivoting, and along the way make changes and move towards my goal. That's most important. Hopefully a little bit closer to where I want to be.
You want to inspire other people, but who inspires you?
Myself in 10 years. That's the right answer for me. Like, I think there's a lot of guys who are obviously online inspiring me, but like, just being real with you, you've probably met a lot of like people which you looked up to as well, without naming any names. But I think maybe you can relate with me. But for me, once I've met some people which I really looked up to online, and I meet them in real life, I'm like, it's great and all, especially the first day. But after a while, I'm like it wasn't that special.
Yeah, it's like don't meet your
Like
heroes.
like
Isn't it?
exactly, like online it looks so amazing, and then if I meet them in real life, it's not even, they have their flaws. They have so many things. I'm like, bro, why are you doing that? You know what I mean? Like, they have a lot of their strong points, obviously, right? But
Yeah.
I'm obviously not perfect at all. I'm far from perfect. Let's be clear about that. But one thing which, so I realized, okay, it's hard to because everyone has you don't see everything online. Even if I look up to, like, for example, Cristiano Ronaldo. Let's say I would look up to Cristiano Ronaldo or Elon Musk. You don't know what's going behind the scenes. Obviously, their accomplishments are great.
Yeah, you could meet them and understand their life and be like, you know what, I don't want that life.
Yeah, exactly.
And then your whole aspect of inspiration could change.
Yeah. So what inspires me the most is myself in 10 years.
Yeah.
That's where I'm looking up to.
Sweet.
And I know who I want to be in 10 years. So
Sweet.
that's where I'm working towards. And I, like, every time I have a big decision to make, it's also like, okay, what would myself in 10 years do?
Yeah.
And yeah, I try to minimize my regrets. That's one decision making which I have. Okay, if I have to make a hard decision, okay, would I regret this in 10 years? And if the answer is yes, then I do it.
Definitely, bro, definitely. And finally, what is your message to the people who are watching this right now? Whether they've come from your audience, whether they've come from mine, or whether they've just stumbled across this podcast somewhere on the internet, what would your message be to them?
Warren Buffett. He recently retired, right? You've seen it probably.
Mm.
He was the most wealthy man of all time. Okay, like one of the most rich guys ever. He had everything a man could ever want. But everyone who's listening this, us included, we are richer than him because we have one thing which he doesn't have, which is time. Okay, he would give up all his wealth, all his money right now to become your age, or to become any of the ages of the listeners who are watching right now. Okay, and we are wasting it. You are wasting it. That's a shame. If I think about it, like, this guy, he would, like, we are richer than him. We have all the time in the world. We are young. We are energetic. We have the internet. We are Gen Z. We know what's going on. Everything is out there for free. We have ChatGPT. We have AI nowadays, and you're still wasting your time. And that's just crazy to me. Okay, like, for me, my message to everyone who's listening to this, because I try to make content as well. I try to be the person which online, I try to make content that I wish I saw when I started. Okay, and I wish I had a big brother who was just real with me without trying to sell me a course. Like, obviously, I sell one-on-one coaching. I have a coaching program where I coach students to start their own e-commerce business. But that's something which a lot, I try not to push it to people. That's why I don't promote it anywhere. And I just generally, when people are messaging me, I'm like, okay, you can join my program. I actually want to help you, but I don't want to do it forever because I don't think it's a scalable model, because we're actually one-on-one coaching someone, right? So it's hard for me to scale that up, and that's why I'm just doing it while I'm still in e-com. I want to share my knowledge, and while I'm still doing well in e-com, I just want to share my knowledge to everyone and scale it up. But yeah, I see nowadays there's a lot of guys online who are, you smell it, okay? You just smell it. And I sometimes catch myself as well when I make content that I start to promote my stuff I'm selling, right? And you can just smell it. Like, every single person that watching online, every big person that watching online is trying to sell them something. Okay, and hopefully, to talk about myself in 10 years as well, hopefully I'll be making content in 10 years as well, which is just out there to inspire people. And actually, generally, like, okay, I make this content, I want to inspire you. Same with this podcast, but I don't want anything from you. I don't need anything from you. I don't need your money. I don't need your following. It doesn't have to be. I don't need your attention. I just want to be, hopefully I can make your life better and you live better listening to this than you were before. Okay, so you got one life, go after it. There's so many fucking opportunities nowadays. You have ChatGPT. If we had ChatGPT nowadays, back in the days, bro, we would be so much richer. You have all the opportunity. There's millions of ways to make money at these days. Choose one business model and go all in on it. Make your life so easy that you remove everything which is stopping you from achieving that. Ignore the naysayers, ignore the bad friends, skip the parties, focus on yourself. And if you focus 100% on yourself, you get anything you ever want in your life.
What a powerful message to end off a podcast. Alex, I want to thank you very, very much for coming on. If people want to find you and follow you, where can they do so?
at Alex Chen on Instagram. And bro, like last but not least, I do have something for you. I wanna grab it. One second.
Okay.
I just have small gift for you.
Shit, we're getting gifts out here. This is why I love Dubai.
Before we close off, I know you like cigars, so I bought something for you in here. There you go.
This is sick.
I'm not a cigar expert. I don't smoke cigars myself.
Do you?
Open it.
We got. Well, firstly, I just need to say, look at the carbon case. That is next level.
I saw you like cigars.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. Okay.
I hope you like it, though. I
like
don't have
it.
any knowledge
I
about
like
cigars.
it, but I don't know if you're having a joke here. So, just to let everyone know, it's a basically cut ashtray and stuff like that. The reason why I said I don't know if you're having a joke here because you might have seen the clip when I was smoking a cigar with Tristan Tate and I fully butchered the cigar.
By yourself in the war room?
Yeah. And so when you got the cutters, I was like, okay, I don't know if he's trying to take a joke to that and all that, but no, it looks sick, bro. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Like it, man. Bro, thank you for the invite, man. Because genuinely, like I've been listening to your podcast for a while already. Like since you're like when I discovered you was the first interview with Tate. Since then, I've been a loyal listener to your podcast. So like it's for me also a goal for me to be on this podcast. I want to thank you for this invite.
No, definitely, bro. And likewise, man.
Being here.
When I've seen your stuff online, that's why I said to you, come on the podcast because I thought. I like the message that this guy's putting out there. I like his information. I like the product. What a cool story it could be. And I'm glad you're here, man. This is sick.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, man.
This is sick. What a cool set. I'm gonna take a picture of this and then share it to people. That's lit. Well, guys, that's Alex Chen for you. Thank you very much. And don't forget to tune in next Sunday on the next episode of CEOCAST. Peace.